Imagine a vibrant discussion between people that includes both openness and critical thought in the pursuit of truth. The Purchasing Truth podcast is an experience, a journey, an exploration of the impact that negative messages in politics and the media have on our families, community, society, and nation. Join your hosts, Bill Stierle and Tom to discover new concepts and language strategies that will reveal effective ways of establishing truth. This podcast series will tackle current events, leadership challenges, healthcare confusion, integrity in business, and many other areas that affect us all. Gain clarity and understanding of the various truth perspectives. Welcome to Purchasing Truth.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Purchasing Truth. I'm Tom Hazard with your host, Bill Stierle, and today we're going to talk about what it really is. It's a concept that took me a while to grasp, and we call it the straw man. And no, we're not talking about the Wizard of Oz character. We're talking about a technique that is used daily to try to purchase truth. Isn't that right, Bill?
That's right. When we look at, purchasing truth and the straw man, it's even though the metaphor of the Wizard of Oz is a funny one to put in here, it is if I only had a brain. It's like
that was really not intentional, but
I know it wasn't intentional. You brought it in. It's like, oh. Ooh, ouch. That was really actually close. Well done, Tom. See, you're starting to channel, the ability to get a hold of truth a little bit, and the difficulty in truth and how truth can be purchased away by using language and certain, mindset techniques, to take a look at, because gosh, how easy can it be? Just to put a understanding around this metaphor of a straw man, how easy can it be is to defeat something that is little and saying, I have defeated this thing, instead of talking about the real issue. Because that's what I'm going to set up, this thing I can defeat. I'm putting my hands over here on one side of the screen. I could defeat this thing. So I'm going to convolute their message, bring it to something I can defeat it, and then therefore I've just defeated them. It's literally sort of when somebody has looking to meet their need for respect at the expense of others, to meet their need for acknowledgement or self-worth or identity at the expense of others. Straw man is a great way to hijack truth. Great way. Because all I got to do is set up a version of a belief, hit a image or message, and say, I want to be like that. Now, the reason why the American brain is so soft on this is because of our saturation of branding and marketing using various different kinds of straw man images and various different kinds of, so this is kind of like the systemic part of it. It's our brain is used to seeing stuff and knowing it's not really fully true, but believe it could be possible. Tom, wouldn't it be great if you and I were on a boat and then landed on a beach with a bunch of women and had the beer and the fish and the fun, and we're walking with our wives and girlfriends across this beach and we're having this wonderful romantic thing? Tom, is that something that's possible for you and I?
Well, sure, it's possible.
Yeah, it's possible, right? Is it probable?
No, but I probably like that beer more with that image in my head, right?
At least I could get the beer then. That's the trick.
It's a Jedi mind trick when you think about it.
At least I could buy the beer. I'm not going to get on the beach. I'm not going to have the cookout. I'm not going to have sex on the sand. I mean, it's like, whoa, but I can have the beer.
Yeah.
Okay, so So it's going to be the same with things like gun control and conservatives. So we'll get into some of these different things so that our audience can get a sense, oh, that's how it gets hijacked. Huh. Because it's easier to create a fantasy that I can defeat or grow to hijack a truth. So there's a caravan heading in our direction. A caravan of immigrants. Caravan is a label. Tom, tell me where caravans are usually described as a word. Tom, please tell me, when you think about the word a caravan across the
I mean, it'd be like across the desert or something, right?
across the desert, and who's on this who are on this caravan? Camels. Who's on those caravan? Muslims.
Right. So
It
that
is
label, while it obviously blows up in terms of, I guess, amplifying conceptually the number of people that may be on this caravan. That's sort of the literal part of it, but the implication is terrorists, right? Or
that's
bad
correct.
people, or whatever, connotation you associate with. And that's very unfortunate, because it's really
These are people who are trying to survive.
right.
Economies that collapse, that were partly a part of something that happened in the world market, and something that we did, Americans have did. So we brought it on. They don't want to come here. Why would they want to come here? They want to live in their own homes and make their own living. Their living collapsed. They got to survive. They're doing what we would do if our economy collapsed. We would head to whatever the economy was that was going to help us survive. That's what we would do,
Right.
because survival is sort of an important thing.
It's kind of instinctive. Yeah.
It's kind of instinctive. Now I'm going to say a a straw man example that is so disturbing, but it cost trillions of dollars, and thousands of American lives, around under 1 million, but close to 1 million Iraqi lives.
Wow.
And all I got to do is hold my hand out like this and say this thing. Watch. This yellow cake
Uranium. Yeah.
Wow. Did you see how I just got your brain to go right there?
Well, I remember it. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, what a surprise. So that is an example of this thing can be put into a bomb and be put into an American city. That's what they said too. We could it could come into an American, and we don't want them to have that thing. And it could be this big, and they have one of those things there. So we need to go get rid of that thing they have there. The inspectors, they don't know what they're talking about. The inspectors don't know what they're talking about. We got to go there and find it. We got to look under every rock. The inspectors don't know what they're talking about. There wasn't anything that they found. Nothing.
No, and I remember at the time speaking with someone who was of the opposite, political spectrum ideologically from me, but we're having a rational, calm conversation about the whole thing, and about, well, there's no proof of WMDs. There's no we're going in and fighting this war, but we really don't have evidence of it. And he says to me, "Oh, but we'll find it." That was the attitude. We'll find it. And like you've talked about in past episodes, if our leader is your guy, if you're on his team, then you're gonna go there. You're gonna support him because he's your guy. And I think we're all susceptible to that, regardless of our, ideology or political persuasions. But wow, how blindly we just trusted that or followed it, and then you're right. How many millions of lives were lost, and on both sides, and all the money spent, and oh my goodness.
Yeah, there's another phrase, on both sides.
Oh, yeah, that's unfortunate.
That's another phrase. Hey, no. Wait a minute. It has moved into the lexicon now. It's moved into our conscience. That's what it also does, is a straw man also penetrates the narrative, so it becomes a reoccurring language in a person's, language use. It's sort of like, how do you get your kid to stop saying, junky language? Well, you could punish them, scare the crap out of them, and then they're going to let you have it when they're 13, 14, and 15 and 16, because they bring it all out to things. Yeah, you suppress it, but see what you can do with this, because they let you have it. Or you can pull it out. That's the solution for the straw man, is you pull the straw man out and then you reproportionalize the straw man to its correct proportion. Oh, yes, I can really see how that you have the thought that these gun advocates are really these types of people that are more racist or lunatics, and they're conspiracy theorists, and they want to own their own nuclear warhead. But really, proportionally, how many people are really like that?
I don't think any of them really have a nuclear warhead. Maybe some of them want to have one, but very few, right?
Yeah, but they'd like to own one. And, if we have gun control, we can stop them from getting all the way to owning a nuclear warhead like they want to, because that's the right to bear arms, isn't it? Isn't it? Because one person has arms. That doesn't mean, well, then where on the scale do we have the right to bear arms then? Well, there could be, it's one thing to own a assault rifle. It's another thing to use an assault rifle on a school or on a church or on a, in a public area, or, at a concert, or, or a movie theater. See, it's the right to bear arms is different. That it has to work contrary to protecting people's lives. So the framing needs to be proportional. We want people to own guns because that's a part of our identity. But we also would like people to be safe. How can we get gun usage and safety to work together? That's a truth narrative. A straw man narrative is, if they take your gun or if they register your gun, then the government will know where to come get you. Yes, because if they track data to that, then you won't have privacy. Privacy is a different need. Now we've got choice using guns, safety, privacy. How can we get this in a short little a news clip? We can't.
I'll tell you, this is why that particular issue of gun control is such a hard one to get anybody to move on and make any progress on, one way or the other. This is a complicated issue, and you just brought out 3 different ways that the straw man is used to, used either way, really.
That's correct. Right? Either way.
Yeah.
That's right.
And, I want to go back briefly before we get too far away to when I said on both sides in reference to the lives lost, right? And I got to tell you, as I said that, as it was, the words are coming out of my mouth, I'm actually feeling guilty saying that word, because I realized what I was doing, and unintentionally, I would like to say, it was a straw man, or could have been a straw man technique, because there I was making it seem like the thousands of American lives lost were equal to the millions of Iraqi or lives lost, right? And
huge.
That's not the case. I mean,
right.
Clearly the people of that country lost a heck of a lot more than we did. I mean, don't get me wrong, all the lives are valuable, and this is not us versus them argument, but I
No,
felt
no.
guilty as those
Yes.
words came out of my mouth, because I really did not mean to belittle the, hundreds of thousands or millions of lives lost on the other side, right?
Your brain just did the most wonderful thing ever. You just proportionalized it and then go, wait a minute. My integrity is not quite on alignment here. My truth telling just went off. I just got caught. I just got caught and baited by my own brain.
Yeah, I shot myself in the foot, so to speak, right?
Right. That's right.
To
And,
label it.
and it's to label it, right. This is one of the biggest challenges that we have, is that perception gets hijacked. It's proportionalized, and when it gets that perception, and then our perspective gets adjusted, then it's proportionalized up and down, whether it's marketing or branding or a straw man or somebody trying to make their point, then we'll dribble in a reward. The reward is, you know what? We're good enough that we'll find the nuclear material there. That's the reward. And won't it be great when our soldiers come up and find that reward that we're looking for? We're not sure exactly where we're going to find it, but by then the enrollment has taken place. And it's really hard when we look at the way the government is set up and the amount of money that we spend towards the military. What Democrat's going to vote against that? There's no way. They all have to be on the same board, on the same thing. The international community did not get on board.
Yeah, I remember.
They did not. There was not a full coalition. There was not a full coalition. There wasn't. There was all these countries that wanted a favor from the United States. Yeah, we'll be on it. We can't offer much, but we'll be there.
We'll join the coalition. We'll send one airplane and 10 people. Maybe that's proportionalizing it too low for some countries, but anyway, there really was a disproportionate amount of participation just to say, to window dress this, that hey, there's this massive coalition behind it. It can't be wrong.
Right. It can't be wrong.
Right.
It's I remember, oh my gosh, I have all these flashbacks from back then about different marketing and promotional things that took place. America has just claimed air superiority over Afghanistan. I go, what they do, shoot down the 3 planes that they had? But that was a newspaper article.
Yeah.
I mean, it was led. Yes, this is what happened. And it's like, oh my gosh, that's a reward. And now we're actually going to get something done there because we need to get something done there. And it's there's nothing to get done. They have nothing to fight back with. Now all of a sudden we're on a skirmish, in the thing in an area that that we have all these different factions all against each other. What did we just do? Well, we just stirred the pot. What we just did. Anyway.
Well, so let's. I want to ask you if one more example that I'm thinking of is an example, a straw man argument example. And then I think we should maybe find an example or two that's not just piling on sort of the conservative side of our history, because it happens all over the place. But so, Bill, there's an example I want to see if you would agree is a straw man or was a straw man argument. And it's back in the Iraq War, the second Iraq War, I guess it was, in George W. Bush administration, where he gives a speech on the aircraft carrier with this major, 100-foot wide banner at the top of the aircraft carrier that says "Mission Accomplished." And I think that was an attempt to kind of, I don't know if it was to blow it up or to minimalize what was going to come after, but basically seemed to be a premature declaration that mission's accomplished, but wanted everyone to feel that, hey, we've done our job, the hard work's over. Was that a straw man? argument.
Yeah. The argument is not going to be how many millions of dollars that needs to be spent in order to occupy a foreign country in order to keep it stable. See, it's like if everybody knew that every $2 is going to be of their income tax or whatever the amount is, I don't know what the number is, was going to be spent to maintain a sustained base and operations in that country, to have a presence there to stabilize it, is the nice way to say it. To occupy it is the a little bit more of, we're occupying it in order to do whatever capitalist thing we want to do. Maybe we're buying something. We don't go to places that that won't bring us any money. We will not go to a place that doesn't bring us money. We will not go into Rwanda to stop a civil war, no matter the bloodshed, because there's no money there.
Wow.
We won't do it. We won't do it unless there's money there.
Okay, so in this case, calling it mission accomplished was trying to have everybody feel good about what had taken place, and to accept it, be on board with it, and not focus on all of the consequences that would come thereafter of the money and the personnel and the number of years we're going to be there and all the rest of it. Is that right?
That's right. That's right. That's right. So,
wow.
So we're going to go into Iraq because the French were setting up contracts to buy Iraqi oil and buy it from Saddam Hussein and go around American oil interests. So, in order to keep that from taking place, we're going to invade it instead. So we have the oil contracts, and the French don't get the oil contracts. Now we know why they didn't join us.
Wow. Well, of course, it was Saddam Hussein responsible for 9/11. That's why we went in there, right? Yeah.
Sure, they were right. There's a good reason now we have a 9/11 thing. We can hijack that and push that over here. It's like, gosh, is that really true? No. It was all these Saudi guys. It's,
right.
Yikes, right?
Right.
Okay. All right. So now let's go after the liberal narratives.
Yeah, let's do that.
The liberal narratives are just as junky. So you know what they say about capitalists, Tom, that capitalists literally worship the bottom line, and they would sell their own kids if they could. Do you know they would do that? A capitalist person would do that.
Wow.
Because the capitalism is bad. Oh, they would, wouldn't they? Yeah. They'd sell their kids.
Well, and when you hear about especially all the executive compensation at big corporations or on Wall Street and all this stuff, right? It's pretty easy. They make it kind of easy to label them and portray them as valuing themselves, their own compensation over everything else.
Because if I don't offer them that talented person that amount of money, another company is going to offer them talented, and that's just capitalism right there. Is that talent is going to go to the highest dollar sign that's there, because this person supposedly has a big enough brain or smart enough talent or has done this before. So I want that person on board because they can handle this. Now let's get on the other side of it. You know what they say about liberals? Liberals, they're just really all secret communists, and they're just aiming to destroy morality and personal choice, and they really don't respect life all that much. Holy moly.
Yeah, wow.
Because they're wild, and they're risk takers, and they're not conservative because they're really communists. It's like, how did you put those together? And now it's like there's a part of our brain that has an agreement in it, because there are certain morality things that one person thinks is okay and another person thinks is not okay. Is it okay that somebody is married and divorced 3 times? Is that okay? Well, they needed to get married and divorced to discover that this was not the right person. And they're really a good person because, well, the first wife wasn't that good because she was crazy. And the second wife was not good because she had this thing. And the third one wasn't good. They're not even looking at the person that's marrying and divorcing the person. They're looking at the other person that's wrong because he was clearly a good guy. Look how wealthy he is. Why don't you just stick with him? Why did you submit to it? Why you just had no place else to go? I don't know. Just divorce him. No, it's not until that person says, nah. And then who's going to make the person wrong? Who's going to make Giuliani wrong for, his choices? No, he's on my team. Who's going to make, Trump wrong for his choices? I have plenty of people in my, family that have got divorced and, you don't know the problems of what the person is bringing to the table or the limitations that the person's bringing to the table.
It's interesting. I think divorce is maybe a really good middle of the road, nonpartisan example of how one partner or the other in the marriage can be how people might make straw man arguments about one or the other, right? Because you minimalize the one that you're close to or friends with, that it's not their fault, and you're going to inflate the problems that the other spouse who you're not friends with had. That's maybe a really good way to think about how this can be done, that it's not along political lines.
Yes, that's right. And but it'll put the liberal mindset and the conservative mindset, and then all you got to do is polarize those folks.
Right.
And if I'm going to polarize the conservative folks, then I would say, what about those conservatives? They're constantly outraged and intolerant bigots who want nothing more than to oppress minorities.
Huh.
It's like, oh my gosh, nothing more than a price. Well, that's quite a stretch. And oppressed minorities is different than I'd like people to be self-sufficient and me not pay money to them because they haven't figured out how to be self-sufficient. That's the conservative mindset. But the straw man mindset is going to blow it up or proportionalize it all the way into oppressed minorities. And we're not talking about how minorities are getting oppressed and how they're suffering and how they get stuck, and how if I'm looking at 5 resumes and this person has this college on it and this person doesn't have a college piece on, I'm taking that guy. Or that gal.
Right.
I'm taking that. Now, if we're talking about if I want to polarize, let's say, between scientists and religious people, if I want to polarize them, I'll carry the straw man around, religious people and say, they're just wide-eyed, superstitious, evangelistic, people that are believing in an imaginary friend. They've got an imaginary friend, those religious people. Yeah, and they're prayed to them all the time. And yeah, you can have one team that prays for them and the other team that prays to them, but whose prayer are they going to listen to right now? Wow, I guess God was with us this time. Well, God wasn't with us this time. God was with us this time. That's like, okay. So here's the weird part about it is that the scientists, then the religious people got to look at the scientists and say, those scientists, those educated scientists, they look down their nose on us. They just don't believe in God the way we do, and they really are godless. They're heathens. So it's like, how did I get that far? They're plotting to suppress. They're going to suppress God is what they're going to do. They're trying to get rid of God is what scientists are doing. Does that make some sense?
It
That this
does.
oppression, this tension between the two of them.
Yeah,
So
no question, no question. And I really like how you're showing and helping us understand how, playing the straw man card, if you will, is how you can polarize opposite sides. And
yeah, the brain wants an easy black and white experience. That's what the brain would like, is an easier black and white experience. Feminists just want to kill all men. It's like, it's like, instead of empowered women would like fairness, skilled women would like fairness. How about that?
yeah,
I mean, be a part of, see, if Hillary just ran on being the first woman to have the skill set to run this show, be a part of history. I've been in this environment, and here's the skill set that I have. She was expecting people to know her resume instead of sell your resume, honey. Sell it.
right.
Sell your resume. Oh, that reminds me of the time there. Donald, when have you done anything like that? Never.
Right.
He would never have anything there. But she did sell a resume. I mean, oh my gosh. It's like, here's a woman with a resume. Here's a guy that doesn't have a resume. He had
a dressing room.
He had a dressing room.
Right.
He had a name. He had a name. The name he made represented something, but not really. They bought the belief that he was, and who validated him?
Well,
Forbes validated
right.
him.
They had a belief that he was a skilled businessman, and that's what the country needed.
Yeah.
Did you see how I did the strawman thing there, and I belittled what he really had, saying he just had a dressing room?
Yeah, I know. That was very nice. It's very nice. It's like, that's easy to defeat, right? It's like,
yeah.
This is a reality star.
A dressing room. What's that worth? How much experience?
That it doesn't take to walk into a dressing room. He was there getting makeup and his tan. I mean, you could jump on to this side and minimalize what a person has done, and it's easy to defeat mentally. It's like, oh yeah, nice perspective. Oh, nice perception. Wow. Oh, I love the proportionalize it. Yes. No, he had to have high level discussions with people, but again, he would just go, he would nod. It does take a skill to get people to do things. It does take a skill to language and forcefully fight for things, but it does take a very strong skill to sit there and go like, I hear your argument, but it's not the truth. That there's more birds that are killed by electrical wires than there are by wind farms. There's more birds that are killed by the current status than you're going to just see you see the dead birds at the bottom of these windmills. It's like a cemetery for birds. It's like, dude, he's proportionalizing, but the truth is, all the electrical lines kill more birds. Kill them.
Well, like we've said, I believe in a past episode, if you argue the facts, that is almost never, I think, going to be a winning path.
No, it isn't. Right? You have to actually just blow up. Oh, so you would like us to hear that these wind
turbines or windmills,
wind turbines really kill a lot of birds, and you really care about the birds. Is that correct?
Yes.
So you'd really like to maybe work on how to protect the birds from flying that way. Is that what you'd like to work on, so we can have the electricity we need?
I don't want the birds, so we can't have the windmills.
Oh, so you really don't like windmills so much. Is that right?
Well, they're the problem with the birds.
Oh, so the birds and the windmills. So you really want to protect birds.
Right. That's right.
Oh, okay. All right. So let's see if we can protect birds and still have the windmills we'd like.
Well, or I thought maybe you're going to flip it on and try to tell me how, then you're wanting to solve the problem of electrical wires that we have all over this country too, because they're killing more birds than anything else.
No. If you go there,
that's bad.
No, because then what you're trying to do is reproportionalize. You want to stay on their side.
Okay. Interesting.
You got to reduce. I'm holding my hands up here on the screen. You want to reduce their argument to the straw man size that it is. You can't grow. I'm growing.
You can't pivot to truth.
Pivot to the truth. You cannot pivot to truth until this is so flat and so unarguable.
Wow.
See, Trump did not want the wind turbines. Here's the fact of it. Off of his golf course, off of where in Scotland or wherever.
Yeah.
He didn't want the turbines off the coast of his golf course. They put all these wind turbines off the coast, and he came in there and advocated for. They're terrible. They're noisy. You're going to see your economy go down if you use them. And all the Europeans are going like, yeah, no, we're not doing it. We're putting the turbines out there, and yeah, you can't stop us. Yeah. And yeah, your golfers are going to have to deal with the turbines and the little bit of noise they make, because most of the time the golfers aren't on the course because it's very cold here, and we're not going to pick your needs over the needs of our economy. It's not going that way, dude. And he's been pissed about turbines ever since. So he's going to come back, and his brain literally links to that. Oh, I'm fighting this battle. I'm going to win this turbine battle. And, he does have a little bit of the Don Quixote kind of like fight the Ooh, that'd be a good
the windmill, yeah.
Yeah, that's a good way. He is fighting the various different strawmen.
Great New Yorker cartoon or something.
There you go. See, now somebody can pick up and get some exposure there. But the strawman character is slumped at the end of it. If you fight with the strawman, that's not what you're doing. You're actually trying to deflate the narrative that they're trying to pump up, and only stay there so that truth does not get hijacked. Truth will have another window a little bit later to come in to say something along the line is saying, gosh, I'd really like to do a research project. Let's set up some wind farms right now and see what the real death is so we can actually validate what you're saying. Yeah.
So really you're saying you want to make it seem like when they're saying a problem requires open heart surgery to fix, you just want to argue that down to the point where it's clear to everybody that it really just needed a Band-Aid.
Let's just go ahead and put a Band-Aid on this one, because the number of birds that die here are really very, very small. So we took a look at it. The information wasn't there. It's like the latest straw man that they've got. Let's look at the origins of this investigation to see if it really should have been started at the beginning.
Oh my goodness.
Let's look at the origins. That's a straw man. So we're going to straw man this thing up. So like all the Democrats, whether it's Bernie or Camilla or Biden, Joe, if all of those different people, Elizabeth Warren, what they really need to do is step into that straw man and say, gosh, you know what? Let's see about the origins. I'm really interested in seeing, it seems like we did look at some of the origins already. Let's bring out the origins that we did look at. Oh, you know what? We did. We spent about a year, and those people did get fired because of the thing that you were talking about. Gosh, I don't think there's any cake uranium over there. See, it's a cake uranium shift. It's like there's some uranium inside the FBI. The damage that's being done is like, wait a minute, I've got a bunch of Boy Scouts that I'm picking on, and these Boy Scouts can get pissed. So you may want to take a look at this, because if this is where you're going to play, we've been overlooking a lot of things that we could have run up the flagpole. And do you want us to really start taking a look at this stuff? So diminishing our belief and our trust in these people, and it doesn't mean that there's not one or two or three of them that have a fanatical piece to them, that they aren't pushing it too much to the extreme. But there's only that's the same thing about the bigoted hillbilly that wants to own a nuclear weapon. It's like to do the Second Amendment. It's like you're looking at a spot that's not really there. And, we're not doing that because that's not really worth our time and energy. We have to get back to the problem. We've got to get back to the issue. We can't just keep stalling things, whether it's the getting all the Tea Party people that were in there and advocating shut down, stall, all that noise that they did, because they're saying, no, we're not getting our way. And there's enough of us that makes a difference here now. We voted, we got put in, the fringe is in here. We've gunked it up. And all it does is let the good looking criminals get away with things. See, it's like if you disable, oh, that person looks like a good person. I mean, Paul Manafort looks like a great looking guy.
Sure.
Yeah. And, he is. And Roger Stone is a kooky, great, good looking guy that, he's kooky, but he's all right. It's like, yeah, he's right. And all he's doing is what he called himself, the agent provocateur. He's a language person that just learns how to, pick and come up with a very creative branding or marketing image that a political party can use. That's what he's good at.
Isn't he the guy that has a tattoo of Richard Nixon on his back, if I remember right?
He is. He does. It's a little unsettling.
It is a little.
And that is, the victory guy, and how could you hire somebody to break into a thing and do that? I mean, he was ahead in the poll. I mean, this is one of the problems that happens and can happen in government, is that we look for or expose things or grow things or proportionalize things to a larger extent. But meanwhile, as Mueller announced, when he did his speech, it was like, here's the indictments that we got from this. Here's the value that we were able to pull out of it. Here's as far as I could go with what my mandates were. And here's what the truth is. And this is the last time I'm going to do this, because this is what I need to stand here. I'm very thorough. It's right there on paper. Read it and do your next step.
Well,
it can't be a criminal piece. It's got to be a constitution. It's got to be a political piece.
It's got to be a congressional piece. Yeah. And to me, the scary part, and maybe this is a good place to wrap the episode with or not, I don't know. But the scary piece of that entire speech by Mueller, speech is the wrong word, but report, I don't know, press conference, whatever, was that the real news out of that was that, hey, America, the Russians have been systematically trying to influence our election, and they succeeded, and every American should be concerned about that. Nobody's talking about that after this speech. It's all about impeachment or not. Are they going to do it? Are they not? Trump trying to proportionalize the Mueller report as nothing, case closed. Everybody else saying, whoa, no, there is a there.
All that Kamala Harris would do, all that Bernie Sanders would need to do right now, all that Joe Biden would need to do right now is to stay on point. Mueller has shown us this, that the Russians systematically done that. What has Trump done? since he knew it? And what has his narrative been because of it? Whoever stays on that point moves up 15 points in the polls.
It's actually brilliant because the more Trump argues that the Mueller report was a waste of time, the more he aligns himself with Russia, and that got him elected. I mean, that's a heck of a narrative.
Yeah, you got to stay on the narrative that's going to get you there and proportionalize it, because the Mueller report is a perception piece. Now you've got to take that and move it to a broader perspective. The Democrats particularly struggle with this detail. Here's the perception, and there's truth in the perception. How much truth? 70% truth, 80% truth, 90% truth. Systematically, they can use those words right now and start the narrative of what has he done about this problem that Mueller discovered. We spent money on this problem. Who's going to do it? Is it going to be Cory Booker? Is it going to be Kamala Harris? Is it going to be Elizabeth Warren? Is it going to be Bernie Sanders?
Is it going to be Pete Buttigieg? Who's it going to be?
Is it going to be Pete? If Pete was listening to this, he would go like, smart idea, and he would move it.
He would. He really would. And honestly, all of them should do it, because you're right. It completely would take the other side off of their narrative and message. That's right. That all they care about is their own. All the other side cares about is, no collusion, no obstruction. All they care about is that. And then if the Democrats take the bait and go down the impeachment road, then that actually may play right into the other side's hands too. But here,
don't worry about the impeachment piece. Nancy needs to actually move when she strategically, because there's a timing thing here. When strategically it needs to be done is that's a whole.
And it may end up happening or having to happen, right?
But really, what we're interested, what this focus is that how do we take the information we have and make that the issue that they need to respond to? See, we've been spending so much time responding to his tweets that we're not cultivating a truth narrative around scary honesty that is impactful as his tweets are.
Right.
Because when somebody says something that is not honest, that doesn't meet the need for truth, most people jump into it's a lie. As soon as you jump into it's a lie, they get to say, no, it's not. And the reason why no, it's not is because they've hijacked the sequence already, Tom. They've already set the perception down. They've adjusted the perspective. They proportionalized it. They gave a reward. You're on my team. And wouldn't it be great to be on my team? That's the anticipation. But those darn Democrats, it's like Democrats, this is not, you're fighting the battle to, and you are inflaming them, but their belief is that they are not going to go over the line. Well, guess what? You guys have, partly went over the line to mobilize all kinds of different people on the other side. And you think your crazy people are going to outnumber, the passionate people that sit on the liberal side of the fence? Oh yeah. Try to rob a woman of choice. Go ahead. Try that. As if that works in a marriage. Go ahead. Try that.
Yeah.
As that works in the country. Go ahead. Try that. That's suppressing women. Yeah. We sort of have done that. It's like, what are you going to do? Take away their vote to right? Their right to vote? Notice how I'm straw manning it.
Right.
I'm straw manning it right now. I actually literally moved it.
You took away choice. You inflated this choice issue to be about
losing your vote.
Losing your vote. Yeah.
Oh, so you want to lose your vote, your ability to make choice, and lose your vote between you and your doctor and your body. And you're going to give that vote over to, do you see how I just did this? Any politician could just take what I just said and say, and move it in a place that gets people perception to say, oh, this is really where the value is. The value is that the government is robbing somebody of choice. That's like robbing somebody of their vote. The perception has changed. The perspective has changed. I'm not saying straw men are bad. I'm just saying they help us, and they can be used to hijack us. That's what the Russians have done, is they've created all these different straw men through the social media.
Social media, right. Of course.
Right. Oh my gosh, we're actually saying, oh, the straw man can be used for positive and negative.
Absolutely. Wow, yes. Bill, that's so illuminating. All right, Bill, you have to promise me and all of our listeners that when you make it to the big leagues and these politicians hire you to, get them on the messages they need to, that you're still going to do this podcast, because this is fascinating. I'm really enjoying it.
With a lot of joy. This has been fun, Tom. All right. Well, more to come. Looking for the next one. I think the next one, what we'll do is we'll take out for a spin. Maybe we'll take a look at how confirmation bias or this straw man can get hijacked to confirm what this fallacy is and reinforce that. And we can take a look at what that would look like. And we linking these two things together, the straw man and then the confirmation bias, really talks about how the beliefs get reinforced and get entrenched, and that's where the identity politics come in and stuff. So
wow,
so we got a lot of work to do there. So
awesome. Good. Wow. All right, I look forward to it. All right, well, thanks so much, Bill.
All right, talk to you soon. Thanks, Tom. Bye.
Thank you for listening to this Purchasing Truth podcast. We trust that you have enjoyed this engaging and thought-provoking conversation. Our hope is that you've received value, found clarity, and broadened your truth perspective in this episode. If you did, leave us a review or visit our website, purchasingtruth.com. Join us again for another informative and content-rich discussion here at the Purchasing Truth podcast. Don't just accept whatever information comes your way. Join the discussion. Discover your own voice. Purchase your own truth.